Is that your neck?
Yeah. Oh, that's nothing, man.
Yo, what is going on? It is the Highly Advised Podcast. I am here with my amigos and compadres yet again. This is episode 69. How are you guys feeling this weekend?
Feeling good, feeling great. God is the greatest. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Cozy, Too Cozy. You already know the main event, but I've been opening up for the past few weeks. So shouts out to my compadres. I hope I said that correctly. Please don't kill me online, which you may do, but I don't give a shit. So fuck you. What's up, guys?
Jeez, man. My bad. Did I cut you off?
No. I'm waiting to see how you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, nah. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know the voice or you see the face but can't remember the name, it's Spence from the Highly Advised Podcast, otherwise known as Saint Kitch. At the end of the day, I'm doing pretty good. Life is great. Weather's beautiful. I mean, granted, some people have been having some 100-degree days, but I mean, it's typical summer. Trying to beat the Delta. So I can't complain at all, man. How about yourself?
Not doing so bad, man. Just relaxing, you know what I mean? Just chilling out. This is Relaxing Nosy _ Jackson. And I was AKA
Hill. No, AKA okay. Hill Jackson.
Hill Jackson. I forgot. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean?
You're not a Hill anymore.
I am. I'm just comedic Hill for now. You got
this is the McFoley thing, right? This is like Cactus Jack, McFoley.
Mankind.
Yeah. This is Relaxing Jackson. Hill Jackson, I hear today. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
But I was chilling out this weekend, and actually I was listening to Boldy James' new album. I'm not sure if y'all got it. Well, I know y'all got a chance to listen to it, but we haven't got a chance to speak about how y'all feel about it. So I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts.
Man, it was a great album. To me, I think it kind of to me, I wasn't a big fan of like one of his I think the Versace tape. Or I think it was a good tape, but I wasn't as big of a fan compared to the tape he had prior. So to me, this project let me know that, okay, he's back on the track that I prefer him on as a fan. So I was pleased by the album. Him and Alchemist knows what he's doing with these artists, man. At the end of the day, he knows what he's doing with these artists by crafting a certain sound that fits just them. Like it's to me, it sounded like it was tailor-made for him to some extent. Just the way he was able to just go from sequencing the each track to having family members on call, like from phone calls on the album, and just talking like what he talks about. So to me, I think it was a really great album.
Yeah, I agree. I've been listening to it all weekend, and at first, when I listened to it, I was just like, oh, I do like this album, but I don't know if I like it more than the Versace tape. Me personally, I like the Versace tape. I thought the production on there was really good. But after listening to it even more and get to digest it, I was like, you know what? Like, I like this project. I like it more than, I think I will like it more than the Versace tape. I think that the rapping on there is better. It's a better cohesive project. While the Versace tape, you could say, hey, this project is kind of like him and Jay Versace did some songs. Hey, man, we could put this on a project versus actually working together and be like, we're going to make something that's specifically for this.
Right.
So, and I think Boldy James right now is 4 for 4. Well, no, let me not say that. I think he's 4 for 5 out of his last 5 releases. The Boldface EP with him and Alchemist was fire. Price of Tea of China and the Deluxe, fire. Versace tape to me is fire. Now the Big Bad Boldy or Big Bad Man Boldy, whatever that one is, that one I don't think Boldy James rapping was bad on that. I just think the beat production on that wasn't that great. And then, of course, he comes out with the Bo Jackson LP once again with Alchemist, which is fire. So this project for me gets 2 thumbs up. Everybody that listens to rap for real or that's really into underground rap music, they're going to fuck with this a lot. All of the people that just only listen to what's on the Billboard charts and the autotune shit, they might not even know who Boldy James is.
You know, when I was listening to Bo Jackson, I personally enjoyed it. Like, I thought the features were good. I thought, the beats were good. I think him and Alchemist have some type of, chemistry when they're working together. So me personally, I was enjoying the project as I was listening to it this weekend. I also I would say there were less songs on this album that I didn't enjoy than on Price of Tea in China. And because of that, I enjoyed it more. Like I would say that it's right on the same level as the Versace tape for me. I can't really decide as to which one is better, but I do enjoy this, and I think it's one of the top albums that came out this year. I don't know where I put it though. It's kind of getting closer to the end of it, and I should say, and I'm just wondering as to where this actually fits in the top 10.
I mean, granted, it's still early, because even though we're going into we're almost going into the last quarter, we're in the second half of the year. Long story short, so it's already been halftime, and the biggest players haven't even stepped on the court yet, and they've still been teasing at it. So I mean, I think we still there's still going to have to be a discussion on where this will be placed, because this is a good album. Similar to like Lau even said, like with even though it's like you may have one unfavorable album, 4 out of 5 releases that people enjoy, your fans enjoy, is solid at the end of the day. And
very solid, yeah.
Yeah, like that, because it takes a certain level of consistency from an artist, especially when I can't say we don't know these people personally, but we know that, okay, it comes across that they're pulling from life events. Right. Life events, or even the creativity to shape something that may be inspired by a life event throughout 4 to 5 different projects. And the majority of them are all knocks out. You hit them out of the park. That's pretty outstanding at the end of the day. So, I mean, I think this to me, this project, I think solidified Boldy James a little bit more for me personally. Because like I said, I wasn't a big fan of the Versace tape. And to me, Price of Tea in China was like my favorite album by him last year. So this hands down is probably number 2 behind that personally. So like, to me, this solidified him as like, okay, him and Alchemist, personally to me, I think him and Alchemist just need to go on a run at this point.
Now, do you think Boldy James is a little underappreciated at the moment?
I think it's not so much of underappreciation, because like I said, true fans of the underground rap scene like Boldy James. They think Boldy James is a good rapper. They're aware of who he is and stuff. A lot of fans who pay attention to Alchemist's work know the artist that he's working with, unless it's like some very obscure local guy or something. But for the most part, they know the people that he usually works with. I don't think he's underappreciated with that crowd in that space. I think it's more or less of he's actually just more unknown. Boldy James never been a mainstream guy. Even with his very first project, My First Chemistry Set, at least the first project known to the masses. But yeah, he's never been a mainstream guy. So I think it's more or less of an unknown thing. And if he let's say he came out and he had a mainstream hit and all that, then I think that would be more of a appropriate question.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think, and even then, I think for him to get a mainstream hit, I think that would be a very interesting conversation in itself, because then it becomes a conversation of how far he may have to deviate from his actual sound that brought him to the dance. So, yeah. But at the same time, like I agree with Lau on this one, where I think he's partially unappreciated, but it's because he's more of an underground artist. And plus on top of, I think even like looking at someone like Alchemist, for instance, right? Alchemist has he's pretty much been going on a run for the most part of working with these underground popular artists to their core group, even the Action Bronsons of the world, where he may be one of the bigger artists, but he's not. Action Bronson is not going to, he doesn't get the same reaction as some other artists would that may be in the same quote unquote level or whatever, right? So I think even Alchemist kind of assists in that. So I think Boldy James, if he just keeps staying consistent, you can definitely tell between him and Alchemist, and honestly, just whatever Alchemist is doing. Cause I think just Alchemist touching the beat just automatically gravitates the hip hop fan, the old hip hop fans, because we're familiar with Alchemist and Mobb Deep and that whole legacy. So I think Boldy James, if he just keeps continuing I think his sound will get a little bit better. I think his sound will become more appreciated as time goes on. Cause I think this gritty hip hop sound is starting to make its way back in some sort of way. So
I think that I wanted to say something about your Action Bronson comment, which is interesting. I think Action Bronson might be the only guy to be on the mainstream level out of all the Alchemist's collaborators, besides Mobb Deep back in the day, of course. But because Action Bronson, he's pretty popular. And I'm not saying that he's a mainstream superstar, but I think he did touch the mainstream level at least once. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree there. I think, yeah. I mean, we don't really have to, the fans that know why that whole thing kind of went the way it went in terms of his career. But like at the same time, like I do agree there where Action Bronson probably is he's the most, I think he's one of the more mainstream artists, because I will say Alchemist has worked with other mainstream artists, just probably not as close in terms of like making like full length projects. I will give you that.
I don't know. It's interesting to see how Boldy James is making his way through his career. Like, I know that a few people came out with a few other things this weekend. You had Benny the Butcher. He released a new project, which I guess was also released with a NFT, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, it was actually what he did was he put out the Pyrex Picasso as an album, and then to commemorate the Plugs I'm At 1, I think as his 2-year anniversary, he put out an NFT album card for that also. So it was like 2 different things he was doing at once. The NFT card, from my understanding, it came with like I guess so many people that won the buying of it would get like either a phone conversation with Benny the Butcher for 15 minutes, go to like his concerts, autographs, I think a FaceTime. But I think I know there was one stipulation that you cannot rap to Benny the Butcher, even if you did. It was one of those things. And because it said you get to have like a 15-minute phone call with them or a Zoom call with them, and there's no rapping allowed.
But some people are going to try and rap for that whole 15 minutes, though.
And it's going to get Benny shutting off in 30 seconds.
I mean, I would too if I put that rule out. Like, hey, I clearly said no rapping, so
yeah, don't do that. Like, we're gonna talk, conversate. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. But he ended up putting that. Ended up putting that project out. I'm curious to see how that. I'm not quite sure how that performance went in terms of the
sales.
Yeah, the sales from it. But I do know that was like something he was pushing. I think it was with a company called Ubiquita or something like that, or Unique, or it's something like that. Something to that nature. Correct me if I'm listeners. Correct me if you know what I'm talking about, and just leave it in the comments or something. But yeah, but he also did drop an album called Pyrex Picasso, which I listened to, which I really did like.
I liked it too.
Guys, you guys gonna kill me. I didn't listen to it.
Wow.
Really? I thought I saw you. I follow. We follow each other on Apple Music. I thought I saw you.
Crazy.
I played the song with him at Conway. I did play that song, and I did like that song a lot. I know what you're talking about on Apple Music. You can see who your friends are listening to.
It's kind of invasive, but yeah.
I mean, you could you can make it private, I think.
Okay. Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Like, I did listen to this song with him at Conway, which I think is the last song on the project. I liked it. I thought that song was fire. No complaints, no squabbles about it. Excuse me. But I didn't listen to the project at whole because I was actually listening to the Bo Jackson LP. That was so. I will be listening to Benny the Butcher. I fucks with Benny. I am gonna listen to it. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he said that he made that project like 3 years ago. and he just decided to release it now. So this is not like the big album with the rumored Drake feature on it and all that stuff. So I will listen to it. Like I said, I did like the Conway song, but you guys should let the listeners know what you think of the Pyrex Picasso project.
Well, I listened to it and I liked it. You know what I mean? Like I was just, to me, it didn't really feel like something he made 3 years ago. That's kind of interesting that it's like that because I mean, he's still like, you know, rapping at a high level. I think there was I can't remember who the feature is, but I know he was also on the Versace tape. I can't remember the rapper's name at the moment, but.
Hold on. No, I think he only had like West Side Gun. Oh, El Camino.
El Camino.
Yeah. El Camino.
Yeah. He had an El Camino feature on there, and I enjoyed that actually. I'm curious to see as to who El Camino might work with production-wise in the future, because I feel like he can actually release like a pretty nice project.
Well, El Camino, he had a bunch of projects out, man. I like listening to El Camino too. He's part of I don't know if he's Griselda or he's like an affiliate or he's under BSF. I don't really know, but what I do know, he does rap with the Griselda guys a lot, and he has. You should look up his catalog on Apple Music or Spotify, because I know that's what you use mainly. So, yeah, he's a dope rapper though.
Maybe I'm just not familiar, but I like the project though.
Yeah, El Camino. He's actually he's like you remember when Griselda first came out and we were seeing like Griselda with I forget the other rappers. It was like El Camino. It was another rapper that is backing Chez Noir. You know what rapper I'm talking about?
38 Special.
Yeah, 38 Special.
38 Special, yeah.
Yeah, like I think they're all in the same like bucket, right? Where I think El Camino has his own thing he does the same way 38 Special does, the same way that Benny does. So I think that's where that whole thing comes from. But I will say this, like I do enjoy El Camino's rapping on this album. I think the album in general is just really great. It is very surprising, because I agree with Nigel on this. It's very surprising that this was something that he made in one day 3 years ago. Like he just made.
You just looked up the tweet or something?
Yeah, it was.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, he posted. It was on his IG where it's like Pyrex Picasso out now. Tracks I did 3 years ago. Recorded the whole album in one day. Had to let it be known. Go cop that shit. Like that's crazy to put out 7. Granted, it's 7 songs, but it's not. But we all know Benny the Butcher. And if you think about it, 3 years ago, that's what Plugs I'm At. No, this is before Plugs I'm At 1. So this might be Tana Talk 4 after Tana Talk 4 then, right?
You mean it's around the time of Tana Talk 3 and Plugs I'm At. It's around that time.
Tana Talk 3. I'm anticipating Tana Talk 4 so
That's
much.
Right. These honestly, they might have been like B-sides. They might have been stuff like, okay, I'm not putting out on these projects. Yeah, I'm gonna just keep them tucked away.
For the quality songs for a rainy day.
Yeah. But it's crazy to have B-sides of that quality. Like honestly, like when you listen to it, I don't want to hype it up too much, but when you listen to it, it doesn't sound like something he made 3 years ago, and it doesn't sound like it was something that was it sounded like something that was supposed to be on an album.
Well, he's also a high quality rapper, so like at this point, we expect a certain criteria of rapping from Benny. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty the level's pretty high for him.
Yeah. Nah, that's true. That is true. Definitely when it comes to like artists like that, like because a certain skill set is always necessary. But like even like you have other artists that did NFT albums, right? That there's a certain bar for them. Like someone like Tory Lanez, for instance, right? He put out an NFT album last week, and I think he had used the diss song with to Cassidy as one of the promoting songs for this. Because he ended up selling 1 million copies of an album for $1 a piece on an NFT, and it sold out in a matter of minutes, from what I heard.
That I got to give props. That's actually dope. Imagine if more artists were like, "Hey, look, I'm going to sell my album for $1 a piece." There'd be a lot more rich independent artists, and well, of course, your music quality has to be there, but
absolutely.
I think that's for him to sell it for $1, and then of the and what he got in the back end, you got to give credit to that. That's dope.
So for every song, he made $1.
No, I my understanding was that the whole album was $1.
Oh, okay. And for every album he sold, it was $1 for him.
Yeah, like he
Just
sold it
straight into his own pocket.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and
you can't be mad at that.
Nah, I'm not. That's actually kind of interesting. I'm curious to see if other artists in general follow into that. You know, because I mean, if you're making more money on the back end, then why wouldn't you do that? Seems to be the way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And this is the part that I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with when it comes to NFTs, right? Is that I believe August 24th, a friend sent, because I've been discussing this with Daryl actually for most of the week. I believe on the 24th of August is when the album, you'll be able to resell the album, right? And with NFTs, it's like collectibles. So you may have bought the album for $1, but you may be able to say, hey, the market value may be $100. And when it's sold for $100, Tory Lanez gets a piece of that also. He gets maybe like 10%.
So like royalties.
Exactly. So he gets, so this is like, this beats, so it's kind of like the whole thing with even art, right? Because I mean, I think we all know like NFTs was primarily for like artists and stuff like that. So they're able to make money off of it. And music falls in the same bucket. And if artists start taking the blueprint of what Tory Lanez did, or even like what Benny did to commemorate one of his fan favorite projects, I think this may end up being like a huge change to the game when it comes to like big artists. And like you said, it has to be quality music. That's going to be the biggest task, I think, especially for independent artists.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that I'm not mad at the NFT thing, like just the way that you explained everything. And there's probably more to it, but just for, the duration of time that we have on this podcast, I think that's a good explanation. I think it's very interesting because, like Nigel mentioned momentarily ago, that, hey, why not more artists do that? Because it just seems more beneficial for the artists.
Here's my thing, right? Like when a big artist does that, you know what I mean? Like let's say they get out of a deal and they just say, hey, I'm about to just do this. And they're going to make a lot of money, of course, you know what I mean? Because that's just the power they command.
Correct.
Then what are the labels going to do? You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, go ahead.
Well, the labels, they would have to try to compete. In my opinion, they would have to try to compete to start like convincing artists not to go independent. Because imagine if he had Drake be like, hey, look, I'm getting off of my deal with whomever he's with now. I'm taking OVO to the NFT side. Drake is going to get all that money tenfold. And he'll probably start releasing all the unreleased shit or the shit that people didn't know existed on there. People are going to go nuts for that. I feel like that you're right, Nigel. For the bigger artists, it'll work well for them. Or the artist that's on the come up that looks like they're going to be big, it'll work well for them. And these labels, to keep these artists, they're going to have to start putting more money out and stop trying to scam them on the back end.
And I think that's going to be that. I do agree there. I think there is going to be a point where there's going to have to be like a more rationale between the business itself and the artist, because like you said, when you see an artist of like Drake's stature, or even like let's take Kanye for example, right?
Yeah,
we've been waiting for Donda forever. Imagine if and we all know how Donda was live streamed and you only could see it in that moment. You couldn't see it after that. Imagine if Kanye said, you know what, I'm going to record this and we're going to film this. We're going to present it to the world. And after that, you only could buy it through an NFT, right? Imagine if he did his whole performance that he did and it was the actual album and he sold the Donda album like that. You know how crazy, it would literally tilt everything upside down at that point.
Yeah.
Like you would see it, and just think about it, like, and especially with an artist like that, like where they're so artistically, it's an artistic thing, and it also reinforces like an artist to allow them to be themselves, right? Because more often than not, I think we can agree there are artists, or better yet, I use Lil Uzi for example. There's always been a rumor of Lil Uzi being able to actually be a lyrical rapper, right? Okay. And even if you listen to Isaiah Rashad's album, to me, there were certain things that he was saying that I'm like, you have to be lyrically of a certain stature. You have to know how to rap lyrically to be able to put certain things together. Even though it may be something light, but it's like, you have to have some lyrical ability to even put certain bars together that Uzi was putting together, right? Now, imagine if Uzi was able to say like, hey, I'm able to be as big as I am, but I'm able to actually rap the way I want to rap. Because we all know Jay-Z always said it best, like, dumb down my lyrics to double my dollars. And then we get the 444 ends up being that album that Jay-Z wanted to always put out. Imagine if artists could put out what they wanted to put out and they did this through the NFT. This would, because all you need is a core fan base. You don't even need to have you don't need a million people. If you have 1,000 people that are willing to pay $20, like every 2 or 3 times out the year, $20 for your project. And when they go to resell it to the people that couldn't get it, you're going to make even more money off of it. That's unbelievable. We're living it. It's just unbelievable.
So Spence, since you're our courtside correspondent for Donda, what is the update? What is the update?
The update. So as of right now, Kanye, last time I checked, he has pushed the date back again in terms of the album release to, I think it went from the 15th to the 22nd of August or something to that nature. All I know, he's pushed it back like another week, as well as apparently, I guess, football season, as we know, is coming close. So the Falcons told him, hey, man, I know you want to stay here. I know you like living here until this album gets done, but you got to get out. So he's apparently moving from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium to the State Farm Stadium, which is like right across the street, which is, I believe, the basketball stadium.
For the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah. So it's that's where we are with this whole thing. I'm still going to be honest with you. I don't see this album coming out until probably October at this point. Like I personally, I just don't see it coming out until October because I think there is something between him and Drake, and you see some chit chatter online, but I don't know. I think Kanye just has a lot. I don't know. I think Kanye is just really milking this at this point.
I don't think Donda's coming out. I think if they are to come out, they're going to come out in some type of, I don't think it's going to come out in the way we expect it to. We probably won't get the album that we've heard played with the locks or just the original version of it ever. You know what I mean? I feel. And I don't know. I guess we'll see as to what the album he puts out actually is. But at this point in time, I'm not expecting an album. If he puts it out, cool. Of course, I'm going to listen. But I'm not waiting for it anymore.
I second Nigel's comments.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, I totally understand it. Like at some point, you miss the mark of like the hype where supply and the demand are right there, the sweet spot of it. He missed it, I think, or hype into the demand. Like I think he really missed that mark. But like you said, Kanye's Kanye, and he's still, somehow people are still going to be like awaiting for this album. Like at the end of the day, we could all say this, but when the Kanye album drops, we're all running to our DSPs to go listen to it at the end of the day. So
I'm gonna listen to it. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it to say, I'm just not looking out for it on a weekly basis. When it comes out, I'll listen to it. You know what I mean?
Nah, I feel you on that. I definitely feel you on that. I mean, I'll put it like this. I'll probably be waiting on that now. I'll be waiting on that more now that the Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao fight has been canceled, because that was something I was really waiting for the month of August. But I mean, as you know, now, I think Errol Spence had, I think he broke his retina or tore his retina or something like that. So the fight ended up getting canceled.
Yeah, it sucks because I think he was going through like a pre-fight medical exam or something. And then they let him know like, hey man, you have a torn retina. So of course, you can't fight. You just can't. So they canceled the fight and they brought another fighter that was on the undercard up to fight Pacquiao. Apparently the fighter that's fighting Pacquiao on the undercard, he's the one that have the belt that Pacquiao did have, but apparently Pacquiao was stripped, I guess, because he didn't defend it or whatever the fuck, whatever crazy boxing politics it is with these titles. But yeah, so Pacquiao is still fighting. It's not the Errol Spence fight. I don't know if Pacquiao is going to win or lose. I don't know if he's going to wait around because he's running for president in the Philippines. So I don't know if this may be his last fight. So it's unfortunate that we won't get to see the Errol Spence fight, but I know people will still tune in because it's Pacquiao, even though it's against somebody that doesn't help sell the pay-per-view. But hey, man, it is what it is. I hope Errol Spence gets better though.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with it. Like I was actually looking forward to seeing Errol Spence fight, and I know that torn retina can be like a pretty bad injury to have for some of these fighters, and MMA and boxing for that matter. Right. So like I would hope that his way to recovery isn't a rough one.
Yeah, same here. Hopefully he's able to recover, because I mean, having an eye injury is never fun, especially when it's your retina. I mean, we all remember like Michael Bisping in MMA, where like I think he had to pour oil drops into his eye, and he was practically blind in that eye for the most part. So that's the last thing you want to have happen with a fighter like this. No. But it is unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate for boxing, because this was a big fight that I think many fans wanted to see, especially those like someone like Keith Thurman. I mean, I guess in the meantime, since that fight's not happening, I'll probably just be looking towards like this Anderson Silva versus Tito Ortiz, and I'm not gonna say what we talked about off camera, or what we heard off camera, but yeah, I think that's on the same card as Oscar De La Hoya and Belfort as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at the fight. I see Anderson. I see Anderson spanking him, really. Yeah. And I see Anderson I hope Anderson beats him. I think Tito is not a good person. No, I
let's just unpack that.
Why do you say that?
Let's unpack that. Let's not walk right over that.
I just don't think. I think he's just very brash and very outspoken and very opinionated on certain things, whether it's on politics or just current events in the world. He's very, instead of saying like, hey, this is just my opinion on things, he's like very extreme. And I don't know. I'm just not a fan of a person of him. And I know I'm not the only one with it. A lot of people are not big fans of Tito neither.
That's fair enough.
There may be fans of his fighting back in the early UFC days, I guess, but I don't hear too many Tito Ortiz fans, unless you align with his beliefs and views or whatever. But I see Anderson winning this boxing fight. I hope Anderson does well so he could get a bigger boxing fight. De La Hoya and Vitor Belfort, whatever. I'm rooting for Vitor Belfort, so there it is.
To me, I think when I see this fight, I'm just like, oh, okay. And me personally, I think even without the MMA, Anderson Silva has a better boxing than him. Tito Ortiz has never been a boxer. He was an MMA fighter, but he wasn't even really known for his boxing ability. Like, so, I mean, me personally, like, I think they set it up because, it's two names from MMA boxing each other. So, I mean, I'll watch it, somewhere, because I'm kind of interested to see what happens. As far as Vitor Belfort versus Oscar De La Hoya, I think I'll save that for closer to the date when it happens.
What? Okay, so September 11th. That's right. That's when the fight happens.
Yeah. I got to go with Anderson Silva on this one. I'm just going with Anderson anyway, just because, I mean, we've seen even head movement wise, pause. I think Anderson Silva has the ability to like actually win the fight. Plus he's been boxing anyway. So I think it's going to be interesting. Tito Ortiz, I think for Tito Ortiz is just a money grab. Same way when he was calling Chuck Liddell for like another fight at one point, which was like, I think they fought a few years back, which was really a not an unnecessary fight in so many words. So I got Silva on that one. And then for the De La Hoya fight, I want to go with Oscar badly. I just want to go with Oscar because I want to see what happens because I know Oscar wants to fight Canelo so badly. And I want to see that train wreck. So I'm going to be rooting for Oscar De La Hoya, but I mean, I know I'm a realist, so I know he's probably going to lose, but I really want him to win because he's chasing the dream, man. He's chasing the mountain. So
you talk about Oscar De La Hoya.
Yo, the man is on a mountain of his own. He's on the mountain on his own, man.
Just as a very anti-Oscar De La Hoya fan, I dislike him very much. This is a fight that he should win because he is a championship level boxer. Nice. And when he's not on the stuff, you know, he could put together 2 punches.
He's on the mountain, man.
Yeah, well, hey, man, him and Tony Montana got something in common, right? But I feel like that Vitor Belfort, yeah, he has punching power. In MMA, he does a lot of blitzing with his punches. The guy's not really a great boxer. He never was. Most of his knockouts came from blitzing people and landing, you know, overhand rights that he was praying for the best for, or he was doing spinning back kicks while he was all juiced up and stuff like that. He never was a proficient boxer. Now, I'm rooting for him because I'm rooting for the MMA guy, but these 2 guys, it's like 2 scumbags in the main event. So,
jeez, man. I mean, hey, listen, man. I mean, it is what it is. I'll put it like this. I think even though you dislike Oscar very much, yes, I do believe you should just root for Oscar De La Hoya through through all his endeavors with boxing moving forward in this second stage of his life. Know why? Mm-hmm. Because I know what he's trying to do, and he's going to lose both times. So I just want to see it happen. He's going to try to fight Floyd, and he's going to try to fight Canelo. Floyd, because we all know the whole thing where, in his mind he beat Floyd. And initially when the fight happened, I remember watching the fight. I thought Oscar won, but when I went back and watched it, it was clear. It was a clear showing of a man putting on a defensive clinic, right?
Yeah.
So he wants that fight. I want Floyd to teach him a lesson again. And then Canelo Alvarez, you want to fight Canelo Alvarez because you dislike the man? Listen, we saw what he did to Amir Khan. We saw what he did to Amir Khan.
Here's the thing, right?
Love to see it again.
I think I could see him getting the fight with Floyd. He's not going to fight Canelo.
Yeah, he won't get the fight with Canelo.
He's not.
I know he's not, but I'm going to root for it, bro. I got to champion this. Listen, the man is on a mountain of his own. You got to champion this because we all know how the movie ends.
No, it's at this point, I just don't want to see the guy get more money. Just to get out there. I don't want to see that. I want to see.
You really dislike this. This was personal.
No, I just don't like the guy. But the Floyd fight, I would see that because I think that one is more. You could sell that fight more because you got 2 older guys that fought in the past. They're both up there in age. Why not do the rematch, right? Oscar is supposedly in boxing shape again. Okay, well, let's see against a guy who's always been in boxing shape, even though he's not in his prime no more. So that Floyd fight between him and Oscar, that one is not bad. Him versus Canelo, that's just a killing of the lambs. It's not. It won't even be a contest. So unless you want to see Oscar get bludgeoned and butchered. Then sure, but
that sounds crazy. That sounds crazy. When you put it that way, that sounds crazy.
I mean, come on.
If a 50-year-old man feels like he can beat a 30-year-old man in his prime of his career. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I to tell? Who am I to tell Oscar? You know, that's all I'm saying.
No, you're right. Who are we? You know what I mean? Who are we? He won't listen to anybody that's supportive of him. So why would he listen to us?
Yeah, who knows? And you know what they could always do, because I know they've tightened it up now. He could probably say like, "Hey, listen, I know there's less belts for the WBA. Add another belt after they take them out, just so we can have the De La Hoya Canelo fight. They can fight for the mountain prize."
My God, man. Scumbag boxers fighting over a scumbag organization like the WBA. But I mean, all the four major organizations, they're all corrupt in their own ways. But I mean, they are. But to lessen the amount of like boxing titles from the, like, that's what the WBA is. It just sounds like it's a financial thing. And I just think that it never really made sense to have a super champion, a regular champion, an interim champion. For boxing purists that listen to the podcast, maybe you could educate us why there's a superb and great reason to have a regular champion, a super champion, interim, a fucking franchise, regional champion.
My bad, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, all I know is when they talked about this for Canelo.
Okay.
I think they were trying to franchise. I believe it was Canelo Alvarez. Listeners correct me if I'm wrong. Or I'll just say this: there was a fighter that was a champion that instead of him keeping the belt, that I think he wanted to franchise it so he could go up another weight class. It's like it's this weird thing of like. It'd be no different than like when Conor won both belts, right? And pretty much instead of locking the division up when he decides to go up to 155, he says, okay, I'm still champion at 145, but I'm going to let you guys have another champion, not an interim champion, a champion. We'll just say Jose Aldo's the actual champion. Conor's the franchise champion, so he can fight at different weight classes. It's like, to me, it's stupid. It makes no sense.
I get frustrated just hearing that, because it looks like in a logical and real world, right? Hey, the champion can't defend the title because A, he's injured, B, he's ducking opponents, or C, he just doesn't want to fight. Okay, we're going to strip his belt, and the actual championship is going to be defended between two number one, number two contenders, however that promotion sees fit. Or, hey, if the champion is injured, then we can make an interim belt, because we don't know if that champion is going to return in a timetable fashion. If he does return, then, okay, we'll have interim title versus real title, and we could promote it as a double title fight, even though we all know the interim title is not the actual championship. But if the champion doesn't return because he's too injured or whatever, then you promote the interim championship to the real championship. That is interim championship. That's what it's for. Hey, we're not holding up the division. We have a guy who's stepping up just in case the actual champion doesn't return. When you start doing, oh, well, we got the regular champion. Well, the regular champion is there, but he's not the actual champion because the super champion is the actual champion. But the super champion wants to promote to be franchised so he doesn't lose his belt so he can fight.
It's too much.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. Like Tank. I like Tank Davis. I think Gervonta Davis, I think the guy is a killer. And I just want him to fight better competition. But when his last fight against Mario Barrios, whatever, that was for the regular belt. It wasn't even for the real championship. The guy who's the champion of that division is a guy named Josh Taylor, who's the unified undisputed champion. He has all four major organization titles. But for some reason, for that event, for Tank, it was the regular belt was on the line. Like, what? The guy is active. He owns all the belts. How's that a championship belt? And that's the thing about boxing that kills me. And another thing about these fucking titles is the Ring magazine belt means nothing. It means nothing. Means nothing. I get it. It looks cool for photo ops and all that shit. But like, it means nothing, bro. I mean, the 4 belts that mean anything is the WBC, IBF, WBA, and WBO. If you don't have one of those 4, your title means nothing. Interim doesn't mean shit. To me, super really doesn't mean shit. Just get the WBA. Hopefully they're like, hey, we're going to cut out all these bullshit belts. There will be one champion for each weight class.
That'd be great.
That's how it should be. If the champion can't defend because he's injured, we'll make an interim belt. Well, you know what I mean? Okay, cool. Yeah. Stop this super franchise, regional, upcoming champion. Stop, man.
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm with you. I think I agree, because if they were actually to go back to a traditional sense of this weight class, one champion, you would have, honestly, I think it would make boxing even better, because then you're going to the talent level. It's similar with MMA, where you'll have, like, we look at someone like Cowboy Cerrone, never had a championship, fought super active at one point in time in his career, never had a championship. And it was always said, if they had opened up 160, 165, more than likely that would have been his sweet spot for a championship. But they don't have that. Right. So he has to fight it. Hey, you could be in the top 5, but if you're not the champion, you're not the champion.
Right.
But that gave us better quality in terms of the product, in terms of fighters. It produced better fighters. When you have fighters, like you said, when you have fighters fight, when the champion is some no-name person, but he's not even being talked about as, oh, we're fighting for another championship, but you're all in the same weight class and there's 7 different belts for heavyweight or something like that.
Exactly.
I totally agree with you. Like, competition wise, I think if this works, I think the WBA, hopefully this becomes a lesson for people moving forward. Like, hey, we lessen the amount of belts. That means there's more competition for a smaller amount of belts, which should just be 1 belt per weight class personally. But like, I'm saying that for across the board. Hopefully this ends up having a positive impact, I'll say, because like you said, there's always corruption at the end of the day. And I remember Zab Judah in a Vlad interview once saying Don King set up the contract in a way where even though he lost, he was the champion going into the fight. Zab Judah was the champion going into the fight. He lost the fight, but he still remained the champion. And he was like, Don King, the way Don King set it up in the contract is that he was having a championship fight for his belt that he never lost. That he lost the fight, but he never lost the belt. So like,
that's corruption 101.
Yeah.
For me, not being like the biggest fan of like boxing, it's always been hard for me to get into it because like there's so much going on with the belts and whatnot. And I'm just like, oh, okay, like it seems like the people who they're fighting are usually not people who are really competition, even though they are champions for some, like, for some reason, you know what I mean? So like, to me, if they can just get it to where it's like, hey, this dude's fighting this dude, they're like 1 and 2, not like, oh, this is the other guy with the other 3 belts. To me, it'd be easier to follow.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that's why like MMA champions are more recognized and more respected, because it's like, hey, this guy is actually the champion. Even got to give credit to like Bellator, right? Because Bellator, yes, even though they do some hokey shit sometimes, but they're pretty on point. Like, hey, this guy's the champion. We don't do it. I don't think Bellator even does interim championships. So like, shouts out to Bellator for that. You know what I mean? So I just feel like boxing needs to fucking just lessen the belts. I understand it's going to be near impossible to get rid of the 4 major organizations.
Right.
There's so much money involved with them. So I get that. But the interim belt, the super cut belt, the regional, the fucking 3 p.m. championship, get rid of all that, man.
3 p.m. championship.
Yeah. Let's get rid of all of it. It's
3 p.m. and 3 p.m. and WBA.
Yeah.
So it's like a Drake, like a Drake verse. Oh man, that's funny, man. That's funny. It's true though. I definitely agree. Like, I mean, luckily we never saw that in the sport of MMA, and luckily, hopefully, it doesn't. I do think it will happen at some point, but I think that's decades from now when they really try to like really exploit the sport for like financial gain. We had a chance to see like certain fighters like Jacare being able to perform and fight for the belt, and fighting along his journey and everything like that. And fortunately enough, as fans in MMA, I guess you could say it's a sad day for his fans. He's decided to retire, actually. Do you guys have anything to say about that?
Shouts out to the alligator, or the crocodile, whatever Jacare stands for. Anybody who's Brazilian speaks Portuguese, please let us know. Yeah, no, for real. Let us know. I think it is the alligator, but
I'm not mistaken because he used to do that, you know.
Yeah, so shouts out to him. He's a former Strikeforce champion, middleweight champion. Nigel, does that championship hold any weight to you or no?
To me, to a certain degree, it does, because the middleweight division of Strikeforce was not bad at the time when he was champion of it. So I think for competition outside of the UFC, I think he was actually one of the dudes who I would like to have seen compete at that point in time, along with, you know, Tim Kennedy and other people like, you know, in Strikeforce. I think at this point in time, he doesn't really have anything more to prove. I don't think that he necessarily has to go in there, especially if he's slowing down, to, you know, want to fight, you know, try to fight top competition. Like, I think he's done enough, and, you know, shouts out to him, you know.
Shouts out to Jacare.
Yeah, shouts out to him, man. I think when someone has such a long career, as well as being able to prove yourself, I think it's always good to, at some point, it's good to retire yourself before the game retires you, even though or at least he's able to identify it before it's like, hey, I keep fighting, and the next thing you know, I'm walking around with like with the shakes. So shout outs to him. I know he will probably be enjoying his retirement, and hopefully, I wonder if him and J.R. Smith are friends, actually, because G-Ho has just gotten even better. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but G-Ho is the greatest homecoming on earth by NC State. J.R. Smith actually decided to go back to school, and he decided to go to become an Aggie. And in that process, apparently, I never would have guessed it, but J.R. Smith has a passion for golfing, apparently, and he's joined the golfing team of NC State. So, A&T. So he's an Aggie now, and I don't know. I'm pretty interested to see how this works as a professional athlete going and playing golf at a collegiate level. I'm curious to see how what this does, especially for HBCU.
I think it's interesting. I don't want to knock him for it, because it's kind of like he never played golf at the professional level, and I don't know how many golf competitions he's attended in his day. But what if his whole play is, and I don't know if it is, this is just a theory, but what if his whole play is like, hey, I'll go through college, and then next year I'll start playing professional golf, because, you know, he can't compete at the NBA level. I mean, he's only good to sit on the bench and, hey, JR, you know, last 3 minutes of the game, go ahead. But what if that's like a career change for him? If that's the case, then I ain't mad at him, you know, because like that means he keeps going. I mean, the dude probably he got 2 NBA championships. He got a lot of money from his NBA career, you know, especially being under LeBron. That gives you a lot of money. So I just feel like why not? If he wants to become a professional golfer, or he just has the love for the game of golf, there ain't nothing wrong with it. So I ain't mad at it. It is interesting to see a professional athlete go to a collegiate level, but I don't think it's bad because it's an entirely different sport. Right. I think it would be alarming if he went and played for the basketball team. It would be like, okay.
That'd be crazy.
I'm not JR Smith. I'm SR Smith. I don't know who that is. Let me play a couple games for y'all, coach. You know what I'm saying? I'm quite sure I'm a good scorer. I've never seen a shot I didn't like to take.
Imagine J.R. Smith just back in March Madness, just dominating. Like really just dominating on the court.
Oh my God.
Everybody's playing against this professional athlete.
A veteran at that. It's not even like a guy that just came in the league for like 2 or 3 years. Like J.R. Smith has been playing in the league forever.
He's won championships.
Yeah. He played with I believe he played with Carmelo Anthony when he was on the Nuggets.
Here's my thing. My bad. Well,
he's been in the game for a long time. Man.
Yeah. To go and play college basketball would be nuts. But shout outs to the golf thing though.
I didn't even know that he could like compete in a college sport. Like, seeing as he was a professional athlete. But I mean, like, maybe there's some rule that says, hey, you can, go ahead and do this thing if you're here. And I'm curious to see how it goes because, like, I think it's a good starting point if he is actually trying to take this seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good starting point as well as I do believe in those who are into golf, right? I think this will probably attract some people to actually want to join the golf team, especially with this college as well, with it being an HBCU. So I think it's going to be interesting that he's going to be able to leverage his fame and notoriety because let's be honest, I think the PGA Tour or whatever was the one that posted this. So like ESPN is going to be covering their golf matches now. Like so he literally may have just. It's going to be interesting seeing what he does for his career personally, but it's going to be very interesting to see what it does for the sport with that at that college as well as across HBCUs. Because most of the time, a lot of HBC. Well, I could say this: I know some HBCUs are within the MEAC, right? So more often than not, they play each other. Like they play other colleges as well, but a lot of times they'll play each other. So it'd be interesting seeing what would happen if they're actually playing if they're having they're highlighting these games and you're seeing two HBCUs go off against each other, right? Like imagine seeing like Howard versus like the Aggies in a golf tournament on ESPN and J.R. Smith is like one of the star players. Like that, this is going to be very interesting. So
yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes. And, like I can imagine even if he was playing PJ Washington, I'm sure PJ Washington is still feeling more stress from this situation with his child support.
My bad guy.
Than he would playing J.R. Smith on the court. Well, that's if it's actually true, because according to him, it might not be.
Nah. Oh no, Brittany Renner got the max contract. She got the max. She got the
super max deal.
Yeah, the super max deal, like the. 2 exponents, you might have to pull out like 10 TI-85 calculators to do the math because I think they said it totals to like possibly like $40 million or something like that by the end of the year. By the end of the term, I'll say.
Poor PJ Washington. If I'm not mistaken,
go ahead.
No, it is.
It's not.
It is, and I'm explain why. When he was in college, he was good enough to get drafted in the first round of the NBA. If I'm not mistaken, he came from Kentucky. So, not that matters. It's just my mind running right now. But here's why I think the situation is poor for him. He probably thought Brittany Renner, or I don't know if I pronounced the young lady's last name correctly, but I don't know if he thought Brittany was like, yeah, she's kind of known. Yeah, she used to be with Lil Uzi or whatever other rapper. But I think she's beautiful. I think I could be a good guy to her. And she's looking like, oh, I got a first round draft pick who's going to get some money, millions, and he's going to simp for me. Well, I'm going to get knocked up. And boom, voila, I got a bag for the next 18 years. And the crazy thing about that, and I don't want to crap on women or whatever like that, because that's definitely not the intent here, is just she put out a video prior to the relationship with him saying, hey, all I need to do is just get with an athlete and have his baby and I'm set. Basically insinuating like, she's playing the game. She's like a city girl or whatever like that. And I think like it's for him because it's like, yeah, he made the mistake to lay down with her or whatever like that. But at the same time, to him, it wasn't a mistake. To him, that was his woman. They were in a relationship.
This is wife, bro.
Well, there you go. I don't think he, his mind was like, this woman's going to do me like this. I don't think that was it. So like, I feel like, and I'm not into their relationship in and outs to know what really happened. But the way social media is portraying it is like she did him dirty, left him high and dry, and now taking millions from him. And I think that's crazy. That's crazy. And it really goes to show for these celebrities and these athletes who are getting big money to like, hey, really be careful who you're going to be with and who you're laying down with, because you never know. And this goes for male, female, because there's some scumbag guys out there too, preying on a female celebrity and female athlete as well. But, you got to be careful who you're laying down with and who you're going to be with, because they might not really love you. They're just out to get you in the end.
Yeah, I mean, that part I do agree with, right? Like, you never know the intentions of the person you're with until like something happens. I agree there. But I will say this, I don't really feel bad for him in this situation. And I say that because Brittany Renner, if anybody, like, if you keep up with like the IG models or whatever and all of this stuff, like at one point in time, I remember seeing like, because she put out a tell-all book at one point, and I remember that it was she put out a tell-all book before, like on some Superhead type of thing, right? And
no.
And I remember, only reason I remember is because Colin Kaepernick was involved in it also, because I think she said Colin flew her out or something like that.
PJ, no.
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. I can't feel. It's hard for me to feel bad for someone when it's all public knowledge. If
I didn't know all that. I didn't know that. I just thought like, oh, this is the girl that Lil Uzi used to do his business with. I didn't think she was like that. Man.
Nah, bro. Like she has a tell-all book of like she's slept with like a lot of basketball players that are still currently in the league, NFL players, entertainers. She's like it's kind of like a superhead fashion in a sense, right? Man. That video where she talked about like, yo, she was trying to like have a come up. My thing is this, right? It sucks. It does suck that this happened. But my thing is like, yo, you married, all this stuff is out here and you married her. You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah, like
who do you blame? If I tell you that if you take your car over there, if the owner of the car shop tells you, hey, we don't fix cars here, we just give them more problems and you give us money for it, and you choose to take your car there and you're like, oh, yo, I just took my Benz, I just bought a brand new Benz and I'm gonna take my Benz there, and he just destroys your engine. You can't get mad. I'm not gonna feel sorry for you because everybody said, why would you go there? He even told you that he doesn't do good car service and you still took your car there. She told you that she was looking for a lick. She done messed with tons of dudes. At the end of the day, like, you pay what you sign up for. And it's unfortunate that this happened. I will reiterate that because I believe it from what social says. I think it was like 2 weeks after she had the baby or whatever, she filed for divorce.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro. I didn't know all that.
She was really plotting on him. That's why I'm kind of just like, damn, like she was really plotting on him.
So she buttered it up, all that stuff. Of course, she let him slide and all that multiple times, hoping for the end result, which he got. And now she's off.
Max contract.
Yeah, Max. Yeah, man. Shouts out to
math too. It's a lot.
Yeah, like
if that's true, that's a lot of fucking money.
Super Max deal. Yeah, that's what she got.
Yeah, you're not playing.
Listen, man, that's why I say it. Like, it sucks. It's a really bad situation, but like, hey, all the information was out here. Like everything was out here. And don't get me wrong, for any of us, if we don't know it, that's understandable. But like if I was dating a girl and like her claim to fame is this, like tell-alls, sleeping with a bunch of dudes. And don't get me wrong, to each his own, whatever your lifestyle is your lifestyle. If I choose to be a part of that, and I see that she has verbally said she's looking for a lick, and I fit that criteria, who's to blame?
I mean, yeah, but when you said everything you said, I'm like, damn, PJ, I was trying to, damn, dog, you made a grave mistake. I mean, his grave mistake created a big blessing that he has a child. So maybe he can teach his child, I don't know if it's a boy or girl, but teach his child, like, hey, due to my mistakes, I can teach you what not to do. But man, that mistake was pretty big, man. She took advantage of him being naive.
Exactly.
And wow, man,
it's unfortunate though.
She so PJ deserves the Fabio Award for being.
We gotta bring that one back. Yes,
he deserves it for being so clueless to his situation, but she deserves the Scumbag Award for really being a scumbag. Like, wow,
that's crazy, man. The whole thing is crazy, man. Like,
morally, people know that shit is wrong. That shit is wrong.
Right.
If a man were to do that, you know how much flack the man would have got? He would have got a lot of hate for that.
And it happens too. There's dudes collecting on child support.
Exactly. Heavy.
That's crazy.
There are.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I feel
never mind.
I feel like for her, you know, I don't know when the gimmick is gonna be out, but when it's finally out, I wonder how she's gonna be able to get through it. It seems like she's good for the next 18, but we will see. Like, wow, that you explained everything just made me blew my mind. Like, that's crazy, man. That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, man. Like, it's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate. The whole thing is unfortunate, but like I said, like, there's only so much advantage you could take of a person, because there's so much that has to happen for like to get to a point of divorce, right? Like, now if he's meeting her and then the next week he's getting married to her, tough counsel. But like, hey man, like I don't know, the whole thing is crazy, and I think I'll say this: I'm gonna just have to see what happens from this, because this is one of the more interesting stories in terms of like this conversation that's always had between men and women. So,
hey man, God bless them both.
Yeah, God bless the child. Actually,
yeah,
most importantly, yes.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what happens though.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just a crazy situation to see happen like that. And to me, this goes back to the situation with Dr. Dre's ex, where, you know, she's getting a significant amount of money for the rest of her life. And I know it's two totally different things, but like there has to be some type of equality when it comes to payouts. You know what I mean? Because like I think anybody with a moral conscience knows that this just isn't right. You know what I mean? Like, I understand the situation, but this just isn't right. It's just not. You know what I mean? But I get it. I understand things go the way they go, but like, come on.
Yeah. And you want to know the craziest part is, I think Dr. Dre's wife is getting like just $100,000 more a month compared to what she's getting. And he's a billionaire, and this kid is like a basketball player. Like he's gonna be playing until his 40s. He's gonna have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he got to be balling out. Like, my God.
I was going to say, if he balls out hard, he could get his own Supermax deal. Where this money ain't going to mean much, but
she'll just double up though.
See,
it's child support.
Saying, man. Like,
that's the scumbag shit, and that's the shit Nigel's talking about.
Like, it's just not right.
The more he makes, the more she takes. Like, I think the thing that I don't know, it's just the whole thing's very interesting. Like, I don't even know what else to say. He's gonna be playing until he's like 46. I definitely will say that. Like, now, hopefully he can contact 50 Cent, to be honest with you, because I know 50 Cent when he went through, well, he didn't have a divorce, but when he had to pay child support, he had said that he would when I guess he got his deal and he got put on child support, they figured out how much money he had to pay her, right? And he just made an account for that. So somehow he was able to. He's an entertainer, so it's probably different, but he found a way of whatever the original deal was, it never changed. So over the 18 years, it just went to an account. So it'd be like him saying, like, let's say it's $43 million, right? If he had $43 million just sitting around, he could put 40 million, that 43 or whatever the number is, into an account, and it'll just automatically just cipher through there. And whatever happens to the money happens to the money. But once the 18 is done, the 18 is done. But I mean, listen, man, this set the City Boys back about 200 points. Like, it set us back, set the City Boys back pretty hard, man.
Shit. Man,
Damn.
that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It is, man.
Yeah, it is, man. It's a way too much money, and it's probably definitely when you look at what's happening in the world. I think you could tell, like, money, when people are getting paid that type of money, for lack of better terms, of just like tricking somebody, I'll say, it's unfortunate because, like, what you see was happening in Haiti right now, right? Where there was an earthquake that last time I checked, there were well over, like, it was at least close to 300 people at that point. Over 250 people had died from the earthquake. So hopefully us as a society can actually kind of help Haiti, man. Send my prayers to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely prayers up for Haiti. The crazy thing about Haiti, I feel like they're always facing like some form of like natural disaster. So they're really going through a rough time over there with the natural disaster. So definitely prayers up to them. Hopefully some of these celebrities or entertainers or whatever that's from Haiti or whatever, hopefully they can all, like, you know, gang up together and help provide some type of relief and support for the residents and the locals down there. It's sad, man. It's sad. So shouts out to them for sure.
Yeah, I hope that they are able to make it out, you know, and hopefully recover from the situation. Like Lyle was saying, this seems to happen like a lot more often than it doesn't with Haiti, and I'm sure, you know, just because of where it sits in the world. And it's unfortunate, but like, hopefully that they will get the help that they need.
Yeah, definitely. So, and this is on the heels of the assassination of their leader as well. So, yeah. Like, this, it's very unfortunate. Like, they've had this has been a very hard time. I can only imagine this has been a hard time for the whole system from the top to the bottom. When the leader is assassinated, to next thing you know, a few footsteps later, there's a natural disaster. So it's just very unfortunate. Hopefully, those that have access to the appropriate resources are able to actually they're able to get them to Haiti as soon as they can, especially those that are in a much finer position financially. So definitely send my prayers and condolences to anybody that has family over there, or anybody that has loved ones or family over there that's been affected by this, especially. So it's a really sad thing nonetheless, though, man. Before we close out, I'm not sure if you guys had anything else to say.
No, just prayers to Haiti, prayers to everybody that may be struggling or dealing with something rough. Don't give up. Keep your head up and keep championing for a better future, and you will prosper. Shouts out to all the listeners. please make sure you follow us at the Highly Advised Podcast on Instagram, Advise Highly on Twitter, and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, which is the Highly Advised Podcast. Make sure that you leave comments, reviews, rates, likes. Just let us know. Tell a friend, tell some family, help spread awareness. And thank you for everybody who is fans of the show and keeps listening to the show. We appreciate you guys. And make sure you follow me at Big Cozy 2 Cozy on Instagram. And I'll let my two colleagues say their socials or whatever like that. So this is it from me.
Yeah, thanks for that, Lau. Like Lau said, make sure you follow us on our social medias as well as us individually. You can follow me at St. Kitch on Instagram, st.kitch. Only other words that I have to say would be make sure you drink your water, mask up, sanitize as best as you can, or at least keep your distance. And I did want to say shout outs to Gable Stevensons, I believe. He won the gold medal for wrestling in the Olympics. So, and I believe he may have some, I've seen some posts where he may be having some ambitions at either wrestling in the WWE or UFC. So shout outs to him as well. Seeing a brother win a gold medal. But yeah, that's really all I have. Everybody just stay safe, especially with the variant out here. And hey, this is episode 69. So episode 70 is around the corner and we got something special for you guys.
Yes, sir.
I can't wait. I don't really have much else to say. It's been a good episode. You can follow me at relaxandnoji_Jackson. We will see you guys next week. You have been highly advised. We are out.
You've been highly advised.